Welcome to Let's Talk Kizomba, your live online talk show bringing all the things Kizomba to you, to your chair, to your home seat, to your computer, to your mobile phone. Submit your questions to the panel tonight, guys. No subject is too taboo. It's more than a conversation, your dance, your show. Guys, welcome to Let's Talk Kizomba. We have a lovely show tonight for you. This subject tonight is Kizomba School Night versus Kizomba Palop Night. We've got a lovely panel. The regular crew are together again tonight. So we're going to bring in the first of the first, Andrea. Andrea is one of our hosts. Andrea, please step on the floor and introduce yourself. Thank you.
Good evening, Gary. How are you? Good evening, everybody. I feel like a newsreader here. I hope everybody's well. Welcome to Let's Talk Kizomba. My name's Andrea. I'm a dancer, teacher, friend of many, I hope. And I'm looking forward to tonight's conversation. Tonight's Let's Talk Kizomba, Gary. We've had quite a few rucks off air, so it's going to be fun tonight.
Okay, Andrea, thanks for giving us a little intro. And of course, just mentioned before, we have our what we call our regular panel tonight. Next on the list, we're going to introduce Mr. Winston Fox. We'll just get him into the studio. He's just arrived.
Hello.
Good evening, Winston. Introduce yourself to the listeners and the viewers.
Good evening. I'm Winston Fox. For those that don't know me, been dancing now Kizomba since 2012, so going on 14 years now. And recently, last year, became a teacher. So still fresh and green in terms of teaching, but I'm passionate with everything to do with Kizomba. I travel abroad a lot, attend a lot of festivals and dance a lot in the UK. And I'm here to give my opinion, mainly as a dancer, but also I can touch on it from a teaching perspective as well now.
Okay, Winston, that's brilliant. Thank you very much. As mentioned, Winston's been dancing a long time, 14 years, similar to myself. And he's recently become a fully fledged teacher and now running his own workshops and delivering lessons in various clubs around the London area. Thank you, Winston. Next, we have a lovely lady from Portugal, Anna. Welcome to the stage. Introduce yourself, please. Thank you.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Anna. So I'm a Kizomba lover. So I have been dancing for more than 20 years now. I born in Portugal, so within the Palop culture. So I used to go to clubs and dance and follow. That's how I learned how to dance. And more recently, in London, I started to last year actually I started to organize some events so locally, so just social parties. And yeah, it's a new experience for me, but I'm a dancer. I love to dance, so it's in my blood.
Thank you, Anna. Quite amazing. Anna's from Lisbon, but she's gone from a dancer to an organizer and a panelist on talk shows. So she's become a jack of all trades, Anna. Welcome to the show again. And next is the lovely Georgia. Georgia, welcome.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. I'm Georgia, Greek Cypriot from Cyprus. I've been dancing for 20 odd years, and most recently, in the last 3 years, I fall in love with Kizomba, and I need nothing else, just Kizomba now. Everything under the umbrella.
Okay, thank you, Georgia. You've just actually missed out that you're a panelist on talk shows now, so Well done for joining us. Okay, listeners and viewers, just to repeat, tonight's subject is Kizomba School Night versus Kizomba Palop Night. Um, for those of you that don't understand the title, we will put you over to Andrea for an explanation on, again, Kizomba School Night versus Kizomba Palop Night. And we also have Super Dixon, who will be joining us shortly as the other host, who is deeply entrenched in this subject. So hopefully we're getting a lot of feedback from him. So, Andrea, over to you. Would you like to describe part of the title, which is Kizomba School Nights? It's one half of the title. Can you, for the viewers and listeners, please explain the school part of the title? Thank you.
Welcome, Gary. So yeah, we were just waiting for Dixon to arrive back from his travels. So we were discussing and differentiating between the different types of Kizomba events that people might go to. Kizomba school nights, we feel, are the nights, and people can disagree if they want to. These are the nights where there is usually lessons and then dancing afterwards. So the promoter may bring in people to teach, or they may teach themselves, and then they run the event, an event later on after classes. That versus the Kizomba Palop nights, which, for those of you who don't know what a Palop is a Portuguese speaking African who lives outside of Africa, because we all know that Portugal colonized a lot of the African countries. A lot of them have then come live in the diaspora, and they have got the name. I don't know what it is in Portuguese, but it's Palop. So we're going to be having a discussion about the difference of those. I've been to both. I've been to sort of classes, taught in classes, and then been to an event, or I've been to just a Kizomba night, which is run by Palops.
Okay, Andrea, thank you. Just for the information for the viewers and listeners, we had a big discussion amongst the panel as to the definition of school night. I think we understand now, but in case you imagine it to be something else, Anna rightly said earlier, you could take it as old school or something like that. It's actually, in layman's terms, a night where they have lessons before the social. I think that's the best way of describing it. So that's what we've received from Andrea. So we'll get a little bit more from that, and Dixon will be sharing his thoughts on what he believes it to be. So at the moment, we're going to go to the panel and we're going to give them a nice little question to start off. We'll start with Anna, who has experience of both type of nights. Anna, welcome again. Can you give your opinion on what a club school night is? I mean, Andrew has explained it's one with lessons before the social. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do. So a club school night is implied that you're gonna have classes or workshops, and you're gonna have followed by social dancing. Regarding the Palop night, I would assume that is a social night, so it's a party event and would not have any workshops or classes involved. So I usually go to school nights, but personally, I'm not doing lessons first because I'm living outside of London, and due to professional commitments, I cannot attend to hardly classes. And secondly, because for me, because I don't intend to lead, So, and I'm used to follow people in any kind of styles. For me, is quite boring. When I attend to classes, they tend to repeat. They tend to teach the same things, and is more focused and directed for leaders. And because I don't intend to lead, so for me it's quite boring. So I don't attend classes. Usually I go for the social after the classes, but I attend to both kind of events. Um, Locally, uh, I would say where I live, there's no many options for classes, so they are focused and majority in based in London. So for people who are outside of from London, sometimes it's difficult to get there in time, I would say.
Yeah. So, your opinion on the description school night? Do you believe that's correct, or do you think it should be called club night? Are we getting an understanding? Because I'm not sure.
Yeah, you need to distinguish somehow, so people obviously they can see the events and they can understand from the events page what's going to happen and what is the plan. But if you call it school night, I would understand as an event that includes classes.
Thank you, Winston. I'm not sure how many um, Palop nights you've attended, but I know for sure you've been to many a school night around Europe. So, what's your opinion? Is school night a good description of a regular night? What you attend with classes?
Yeah, I think it's a fair enough description. Obviously, it's subjective, but I think it's a good enough description. For me, I'd also maybe add that the majority of the people attending is also a variable because, for example, in what we are classing as a Kizomba school night, I think you're going to find more of a mix of sort of multi-ethnic groups attending those functions. Whereas when you go to what I would describe as a Palop function, you're going to find a majority of Palops and then another community of other dancers, but the majority will be Palop. That is how I see it. And also sometimes maybe the promoting team may well be Palop as compared to the school nights. I mean, you do have some people that are doing school nights and they are Palop. But traditionally, if we just want to just sort of just make the distinction, that is how I would see it. I would see it that the school nights here in the UK are probably run predominantly by non-Palops, if you like.
I think that's a very good point. Winston's got there. That's to the viewers and listeners. Winston's made a very good point. These are normally run by non-Palops. That's a very good point into what we're talking about tonight. Thank you there, Winston.
Mm.
Um, it's a good way of distinguishing between the nights, between the type of event. A non-Palop normally runs classes. It's coincidental, by the way. It's not that there's no non-Palops running them, but it tends to be non-Palops. So, Andrea, would you like to just coming back to Andrea on this? Would you agree with Winston there that it's predominantly non-Palops running classes?
There's quite a lot of Palops running classes that I know, not just in London. I mean, there is a bigger country out there besides just London. So there are a lot of people, Palops running classes. But I think there's a bigger difference in the whole way, and I'm sure when Dixon gets here, he can help me explain it. It's more of a social event. A lot of Palop events tend to be the ones I've been to usually start with a meal. Then there's dancing afterwards, or dancing. There's eating and dancing through the whole night, really. Our lovely Rashida's out there. Hi, Rashida. So that's the difference for me. Is there's usually a meal or something beforehand, and then people dance afterwards. So there's all sorts of differences, and that's what we're going through tonight, because people should, I mean, people don't have to, but I like a nice Palop event when it's about the whole sort of social event, catching up with your friends, having a chance to sit and have a meal with people, get to build a community, that sort of thing. So I'm sure that Dixon will come up with an awful lot more differences, but to me, it's that and the music that's generally played at a Palop night is different. But I would say that I do agree the majority of events in London are run by non-Palops, the Kizomba school nights, as opposed to a Palop event.
Okay, Georgia, I know you haven't been in Kizomba for a great amount of time, but you're certainly trying to catch up with your regular attendance. Would you agree with this? A school night's a good description. What's your opinion on a school night? Does it have to mean class to you? Does it mean a class before a social? Is that your take on it?
Yes to all of the above, what the panel said. School night suggests classes, of course. Sometimes run by Palops, majority not. But if you're going to a school night, you expect to be different levels of classes. Old school, completely different situation there. So we're talking school night. I go to, well, once a week I do a school night, which I can just about manage to get to. I dance a couple of times a week, but can't get there on a Tuesday on time. I live a bazillion miles away. And Palop nights they're just so different. It's agree with Winston, it's the majority are Palops there, and it takes them a little while to warm up to you, and the music is just so different.
Okay, Georgia, we're going to come to that a little bit later. Don't bite the sausage yet. Oh, I should have said that. Guys, like, we're going to come back to that. I don't want to go into it too deeply. Andrea, school nights, lessons, demos, practice on the floor. Yeah. And when we mean practice on the floor, going into a social arena and then trying to replicate what you've learned. Palop night, natural and connecting. Can you give us a bit more of an insight? So someone goes in to an event, they're new to dance, they do the lesson, demos, try to replicate on the floor. How does this affect a school night? Does it make it I think you used the word sterile. Does it make it all rigid and
I didn't call it sterile. You chose to misinterpret what I said. You did. That was not what I said. So for me,
those are the words you used. Sterile. So
no. That was. But you're taking it out of context, Gary. You are not giving the whole context of what I was talking about. I was differentiate. You were saying you didn't understand what a Kizomba school night was. I was trying to explain it to you so that you could understand the difference.
Right. So Angela, again,
Gary,
please continue. Demos, practice on the floor, lessons. Someone comes in, they're doing that. Do you believe it makes it, to use a word you've used previously, sterile, rigid, as opposed to just fluid?
Do you mean how the night progresses, or how people learn to dance, or how the
night in general? So they're doing those things as opposed to a Palop night where they're coming in, they're grabbing a drink or two, and then just dancing. It's a lot more fluid. So do you believe that it impacts on a school night?
It does if the classes are running really, really late. Can we just pause and say hello to Dixon? He's had a long journey from Liverpool today.
Oh my God.
Texting
How you doing, my people? How you doing? Good evening, everyone. Boa noite.
Okay, Dixon, we'll come back to you. Andrea, please finish.
Okay,
so
for me, the only problem that I have with a Kizomba school night, and this has been not just Kizomba, to be fair, it's salsa, whatever dance classes I've been, is class is not starting and ending on time. And so I've turned up for my dance to dance socially, or even if I've turned up to teach, or if I've turned up to take partner lesson, and I get those, so I don't know, say the lesson's meant to start at 8 o'clock, 8:30, we're still hanging around, shuffling our feet, waiting for the class to start. That's my only sort of bugbear about lessons. When I ran an event, if I said my lesson started at 9, they started at 9. If you weren't there, you weren't there. But the whole night needed to run. So if that would be sort of my only bugbear, really. But if people are new to Kizomba, how else are they going to learn if they don't come to lessons?
Mm-hmm.
How else are they going to get to know people? How else are they going to get to know people within? I know everybody dances for different reasons, and I know that some people feel they don't have to go to lessons, and that's totally their judgment. That's their call. For me, I wanted to be able to dance well and to dance with the people whose this was their from the country of origin. So I wanted to learn everything there was. I was lucky. I was taught by people who were the first group of teachers really in the UK. You know, Rikita Alta, Iris de Brito, Eddie Vance, Rico, people like that who were around, because I started way back in sort of 2010, 2011. So it was a long time ago. So I was lucky. I was taught by people who this was their dance that they grew up with. Now it's maybe not quite the same. But I would say that as a school night, you have to have the lessons. Otherwise, people aren't going to be able to join in and become part of the Kizomba community if they've not been to the lessons. I just like lessons to run on time. If you say your lessons are from 9 to 10, they're from 9 to 10, not from 9:45 to nearly 11 o'clock. That would be my only bugbear.
So Andrea, in closing on this actual question, we understand you need to do classes and practice, but you feel like you like the flow of a palop night, the flow, the fluidity, the connection of just buying a drink, speaking to a few people, having a dance, and that's it. As opposed to you're going through the whole process of
I like both. I turn up early at events and I'll join in the classes because I like dancing. I don't mind the classes. I think they're absolutely necessary in order to keep the dance alive, because if people aren't learning, they're not going to be able to become the leaders and the followers and the teachers going forward. But I also liked a palop night, where it's a sit down meal. You hear a song that you like, you get up and you dance with someone. That to me is organic and it's natural, and I enjoy that as well. So they both have their pros and they both have their cons. So it's not that I prefer one or the other. They both have a place in my life.
Okay, we're going to move swiftly to Super Dixon. Thank you for joining us, Super Dixon. I'll pose that question to you as well. Do you think a school night is more rigid? Do you feel like, obviously we have to do lessons, that's the process, and then you do your demos, and often dancers are practicing what they've learned. Do you, let's put it this way, do you prefer the fluidity of a palop night, which we honestly know is going, attending, probably buying a drink or two, in some cases depending on the type of palop night, you might have a kind of a sit down situation, with maybe a bit of food, but just that kind of relaxed without the lessons? Which is your preference?
Well, good evening, everybody. We'll wait one more time. Apologies for this delay. As always, my crazy travels coming from Liverpool. Well, as you know me, my name is Super Dixon. I'm a Kizomba Palop instructor, educator, actually. I don't call myself a DJ or I'm a dance educator, really, on Palop culture. So this is what I do. And for me, I keep saying in our shows, and I'm always happy to be part of this panel, but I keep saying to our shows, when I came to the UK, for me, it was a bit of a culture shock because I was like, at some places, especially in Plymouth, they were just playing like, I love Cape Verde music. I love Cape Verde music, but at some point, there's only a register of music. You know what I mean? There was no Afro music. There was no party, let's say. So for me, I like the authenticity of a Palop night, of a Palop Kizomba night, right? I prefer, because for me, I keep saying the Kizomba the whole night, or when I say Kizomba one more time, is the umbrella just dancing. For me, it's boring. I've been saying it 15 years that I've been in doing this as a career. I grew up I was born in Mozambique, but I grew up in Portugal, where I got exposed to all of these different cultures, and how, again, the DJ will play bits of everything. It's not for everyone. You can always socialize. You can always get a drink. You can always do whatever. It's part of it. Makes sense. And one of the things that I also think that you guys are kind of said, I was listening on the off, and I heard obviously Andrea also saying very well that, again, a Kizomba pull-up night can also be dinner plus dancing, which for me, that's like top. But the top for me is if you can have dinner, live music, and the party. That's my take, obviously. But as an instructor, of course, I knew for a fact that you have to have the classes so that the people can come and learn. That's the change paradigm. And when I mention the name schools, is because in Portugal, the way that we started to classify those nights, we called it school, escolas. This is organized by the escolas. That is not for us. That's how my cousins came across when they were defining it. I was like, so I guess, yeah, I prefer Palop nights because you're not going to a reggae night and not listening to reggae, right?
Well,
I hope it's enough for now.
Yeah, Dixon, thanks for that. I think, that was a nice, precise answer to the question. He prefers a Palop night, that's for sure. Andrea's sitting on the fence 50-50. She likes both. And we'll come to more of the panel members in just a moment. We're going to go to the chat and see what our viewers are saying. We'll start with Rashida. Good evening, Rashida. She's
Rashida.
saying it's so interesting how different our DJs play at a Palop night versus a secular night. Sorry, Gary, preempting the discussion. So, yep, Rashida, just hold your horses there. We're going to come to that, but yes, it is a very interesting point, and it's the same DJs playing in totally different ways. That's something we will tackle in just a short while. Good evening, Izzy. He says, "Oh my God, don't know how, but somehow I clicked from Georgia's profile." I'm not sure what he's talking about there. Georgia's agreeing with Rashida. Emma, good evening. And I think that is something we will go back to. Georgia, I'm not sure how many Palop nights you've attended, but what would be your preference if you have? Are you kind of used to, obviously, a school night, classes, and it's your thing, I'm guessing, but have you had much experience with a Palop night?
I have had some experience with Palop nights, yes. Palop nights are very similar to how I grew up going to Greek dinner and dances. It's where you go with a group of friends, and I'm talking like carloads of you trailing each other, and usually lasting all night, such as Palop nights do. 3-course meal, 5-course meal, dance whenever you feel like, live band. So I've been to Palop nights as well. They're exactly the same. Loved them. I absolutely love them. However, they're not very accessible for me. So I do have my Tuesday nights and Friday nights, which are school nights. I meet my friends there, and I'm used to that. Palop nights are special occasions, I guess. Birthdays, we do Palop nights. So I like both. I'm used to school nights.
Anna, we know what you're going to say, I think. Anna, I think we know what you're going to say.
Yeah, I do both, but honestly, on a school night, I will arrive just for social. But pop night is different. You have a variety of musics. You have a variety of genres of musics. You It's not quite common now to have like dinners. Even in UK, it's not have food to do all the limitations and restrictions, and some venues don't authorize. But yeah, in terms of live bands, singers, that's a pop night. So live, we do we have quite often events, and they are all pop. We had recently one, I think yesterday, with brunch. Actually included food, but it is always palop night. So usually we don't hand to these events locally. They know how to dance. You don't have many students. They go later, even if you organize something with a class that starts earlier. Usually palops just go out after midnight. So you have 3, 4, 5, 6 people attending to the classes. So that's a problem when you are organizing locally, where just there's like a big community of follow-up people. And issue is usually they test on DJs and test on singers. There's quite a lot of events around here, just with live singers.
I think
I prefer. I was recently this weekend we had an event that was brought from Portugal, so it's basically my second home in Lisbon. They came to London for the first time, and was just a palop night. And some of my British friends that were there, they were asking me to teach them how to dance the other styles of music, like Brazilian, like Afro, like because they never listen this kind of things in London before, and was really nice to see that they sing something new, because can be really different. And people when they go abroad, you have the workshops. So obviously when you go abroad and you go to the festivals, you always have workshops during the day. Sometimes you have a class before the event, but it's majority a social night. And any club that you go in Portugal, it's rare. You have 2 or 3, maybe in Lisbon, that do school events. Because it's not very often that they have many people attending. That's the problem.
so. Yeah,
The
I
clubs
believe.
are used to going just nights.
I think we're having a little problem with this.
So apart from the festivals in Lisbon, the clubs will not school nights.
So I think Anna was mentioning. I think as Maketo were in London this weekend. It's interesting. We just before we go to Winston, guys. I actually think the two different type of palops night are quite different as well. Where you're going just for the social, it's got a different atmosphere to a sit down meal with live music. It's even that, Andrea. Would you say even that between that those two type of events are quite different as well? We believe you're on
I
mute.
hear
I know it's like Zoom calls all the time.
you.
So yeah, so there are the events that I like, where you have a sit down meal, you get to know people and chat with your friends and that sort of thing, or where it is basically just a club night where there is a DJ, a
Music.
live band. You can't be a live singer. And so yeah, so there are those two, but there's also a difference with people between the age group of the people who are running the events. So it may be that the youngsters are playing more music that they like, and other people, us more mature people, have a different type of music that we like to listen to.
Yeah, Andrea. What we're trying to get at is those nights are quite different. Is in, you know, you just go and you go to a night where you buy a drink, the DJ's playing,
Yeah.
and that's essentially it. Or you have the kind of a sit down scenario, maybe with a live band. That is completely different atmosphere. It's almost like two totally different events. Would you agree?
I think I just said that, Gary.
Yeah, but you started to. I would like you to say yes or no. I think you didn't quite answer what
I said that both nights are different, and within the Palop community. There are all sorts of different events. So you'll have events run by younger people. You'll have events run by older people, people who are a bit maybe more old school. So yes, they are different. I'm not going to say what you want me to say, Gary. I'll say what I would like to say.
Okay, and Andrew is telling me off, guys. So now we're going to go to Dixon. Dixon, let's see what we can get from you. So when we're talking about a school night and a pallet night, there's so many different types of pallet nights we're understanding now. How can we differentiate from school night versus pallet nights when you've got maybe 5 to 7 different pallet nights? So where do we go from there?
Can you rephrase that? Because I'm trying to.
Right. So we're
By
saying
the way, everybody, when you see me looking down,
night.
it's because I've been sharing everything. I'm sharing everything on social media. Don't forget to share the link. Tell everybody, tell a friend to tell a friend that the show is live. Let's keep going. I've just been doing that, making sure that everybody is aware that the show is on. Can you just repeat that very quickly for me, please? My translator was not on.
So
Sorry.
school night subject versus pallet night. Quite simple. But if we break it down, when we say a pallet night, there's kind of 3 to 4, maybe 7 different types of pallet night. As Andrew was saying, different ages of the promoters, bringing different crowds. So
Yeah.
Give us a bit more of an insight. Where would you go with a pallet night? Just the night where they go and play music, or the band?
I can simplify a bit, trying to focus a bit. What do we have in the UK?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And thinking about the UK, because again, for me and Anna, it's easy to say how it is in Portugal with the two distinct nights, right? But I guess if I'm thinking about the UK, it's just that little factor that you go to a Kizomba night here, school's night. If you play Afro House or something like that, or Kuduru, everybody runs away. Everybody goes and complain because their step's going to be affected or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Therefore, the organizers restrain themselves from doing it so that they don't break whatever the flow of the dancer, of the school dancer, whatever they want, whatever they think they want. That's the point. In a pull-up night, the DJ will play some mixology of music. It's not just Afro. It can be Brazilian music. It can be Afro beats. It can be whatever. Hip hop, R&B. Do you know what I mean? For me, one of the things that I feel that it's like, for me, was a big breaker when I came to the UK is that one of the reasons I used to go out to a Palop night is because they would play, the only place I would listen to R&B and hip hop would be there. I keep saying to people, my first dance, I danced Kizomba at home by force, but the dance that I wanted to go dance in the club was hip hop, no doubt. So the only place I could go is a Kizomba night. So here in the UK, there's nothing. You can't play it. It's almost like all the clubs are packed with hip hop R&B. The people can go there and have fun. But if you play it at Kizomba party, it's a drama, for example. Do you know what I mean? I think that's the point where I think that what's missing. It's like it's supposed to be a party of mixed music. Do you know what I mean? One of the things I found that here in the UK, I did that myself, is there's a lot of Caribbeans. Let's play more stuff that they like. Do you know what I mean? And I think that would be even a better icebreaker to bring more people together, more people to the dance. You know what I mean? And we're sticking to what's on the whatever, on what people are learning, right? We're sticking to that, and that's what we get, I think. But for me, I think it's, culturally speaking, for me, it's not correct. But we have to sell the fish in it. So I don't know.
Winston,
Mm-hmm.
your view on that, you know, what we were saying, can you just give your input on that? Be interesting.
Yeah,
You're very much a school night, I would say.
yeah, you know me already. So for me, I'm predominantly, I attend mainly school nights. I'm not in palop circles in terms of WhatsApps and knowing what events are happening from a sort of palop cultural point of view. And when I do find out about them, it's quite late. So I tend to circulate really around school nights. Now, I have attended a few palop functions in the past, and there has been one particular club that tried to really attract a palop audience in South London, which we know about. Now, from my experience, what do I enjoy? I enjoy the atmosphere from a school night, but I prefer the music from a palop night. Now, the reason, I don't know if you remember, how we got to this subject was because I suggested, or I raised a question, should we have more mixed music at Kizomba parties? Because that was what I was trying to drive at, in the sense of, we all love Kizomba, we love Kizomba Semba, but it would be nice to have maybe a half an hour, a 45-minute segment where we can play some reggae, we can play some soca. We do the Afro house, we always do that, but we could vary it, you know. What tends to happen is when they do, because obviously I'm a reggae DJ from back in the day, when they do play some reggae, it's always the same Bob Marley, as if there's no other reggae music out there. And that, as soon as I hear it, it drives me mad. It's like, why are you just playing the same old One Love and all that? There's so much reggae music to play. 45-minute segment, you can play some salsa. The place will go crazy, right? You can play some salsa, R&B, just mix it, a little 45-minute segment and come out. What we tend to do is, at the Kizomba school nights, we play a 45-minute segment of Afro or Funana or whatever. To me, it's not my thing, I'm not really into it, but I'll just take a back seat, I'll go and get a drink, I might talk to people or whatever, let people have fun, that's their time. So for me, the atmosphere at those events, they're more, for me, being non-palop, they're more sociable. I can approach people easier at a school night than I can go to what I've experienced as a palop night and approach people that are palop, women, for example, and I find it's very cliquey. And you have the certain order of who you can ask to dance with their partner and so on. And I've noticed this particularly when I've been abroad in Lisbon. There's one particular club that we all know about, heavily palop orientated. And the first time I went there, I was lost because, you know, you couldn't sit down at a table. You know, I actually sat down and someone said, you can't sit down. What are you talking about? It's been booked. Oh, okay. So you get up, you have a drink in your hand, you go to put it down somewhere, you can't put your drink down there. It's like, what? What's going on here? Then the women, you know, there's an order. You have to ask the partner, is it okay if I can dance with? I don't know the partner. What am I going to ask if I can dance with your woman for? So all of that for me was very restrictive. So I've then shied away from going to those type of events, right? Unless I'm going with people that I already know and I can socialize with them in that function. But the music at palop nights is my thing because they'll play proper Kizomba. They'll play music you can actually dance to and not just stand up and Tarashina the whole bloody night, right? They play some Semba, you can actually dance and the vibe is kicking. I go to a club in Lisbon, I'll just say Mangala if you don't mind me mentioning it. But man, you go there and sometimes you think, where the hell did this DJ get this music from? Because he's playing tunes that you don't even hear normally. But the atmosphere is kicking. The music is wicked. But then again, you can't go and approach anybody to dance there. It's so restrictive, in my opinion. And I don't tend to enjoy it unless it's people coming from a festival who are there and I already know them and I can approach them and we dance and there's no, you know, restrictions, there's no funny vibes or there's no trying to get into a little clique. So to me, I have a personal preference of going to a Kizomba school night, mixed audience. Yes, you have palops as well, but you have a lot of people from different ethnic backgrounds there. And I find the atmosphere is better. My experience of going to some of the palop nights is that the men drink too much. I'm going to say it as it is. The men drink too much. They don't have respect for women, although you have to respect their women when you are trying to dance with them. but I've seen the behavior of when they approach women that I don't like. So because of that, I've tended to shy away from those events. I've not actually been to an event where they have a meal first and then, because that would be nice, as long as people behave themselves and they don't drink too much. That would be nice. And the idea of a concert, yes, I love that. I love live music. And when I've gone to festivals abroad and they've put on the live bands and that, you can't beat that. You can't beat that atmosphere and hearing those instruments playing when it's live. So to have that function here, if it's organized properly and it's run on time and it doesn't get cancelled and you don't get scammed and all the, you know, I've been to some concerts here, but I've been put on by palops and man, I've been left wanting, right? Very disappointed, right? With the artists, they come on late and then they come on, they don't finish a set. And then you get the artist, the lower ranked artist do a lot. And then the main artist doesn't do anything. What is this? You just feel like you're conned. So if they're organized properly, yes, I would definitely attend them, but it has to be organized properly. But that's my take on it.
Thank you very much, Winston. I think you really answered that question very well. That's good. So from the panel, we got Andrea 50-50, Winston interestingly saying about taking the music part of it, but staying with the school night. Anna, we know, is on a pallet night. So we've got loads of chat messages here. Rashida, as an adoptive palop, I had I had a rude awakening very early on in my dance journey. How much I didn't know how to dance until I started going. So, yep, she was, you know, put out there, Rashida, who is literally an adoptive palop, and she's just saying she's been to Equilibrio and Britannia and these places, and you know they're real palop nights. Thank you, Rashida. She's also said she used to promote Love to Dance, which was in Holloway, North London. We used to go there with a mix of musical genres. People didn't support it. There you go, Winston. See? So they put on this kind of event. And
no, not the whole night. I'm talking about just a segment.
Yeah.
I'm not saying mix it the whole night, because why were you going to do that? I'm just saying you have a night of Kizomba, you have a 45-minute slot where you mix the music. Mix it not just with Afro. So play some reggae, play some R&B. You know, you can play some soca, you can play some salsa. You can make that a little variety. 45 minutes to an hour, job done.
Does that change the Kizomba night? We'll come back to that. And I'm seeing.
I just want to say something. What Winston is saying right here. This is the funniest thing ever. That when we do this sometimes, very randomly at the Kizomba party, sometimes here and there, randomly, we will play a salsa song in the Kizomba room, and everybody dances. Everybody's enjoying, and there's a lot of people that are looking like, "What's going on here? Why are they playing salsa? Oh my god!" And I keep saying, I guess Kizomberos are the only ones who actually like the salsa. Don't mind. It doesn't need to be the whole night, because at the end of the day, especially in the UK, everybody started with salsa before they find the final boss. You know what I mean? But this is the thing. Kizomba has rumba music. I keep saying this. I played a song a few weeks ago to show to people that song, and they were like, "What is this salsa?" Oh man, Kizomba has so many layers, and one of them is the rumba. You know what I mean? Especially Cuban influence as well. And people don't know this, but I rest my case. Winston, on point.
There was one festival that we went to recently abroad, and the DJ near the end of the night played a few salsa tracks, and the whole place exploded. Just 2 songs, 2-3 songs, and the whole place went mad, right? And it was Saburu that played it, and the whole place just went crazy. 2-3 salsa songs, and it went nuts. And that was in a Kizomba event. So you can do that little variation, just to throw in something different, you know, just to liven it up a bit. Particularly
a few weeks ago on a Friday, Winston, it happened. A few weeks ago on a Friday. I don't know if you were there or you were.
I may not have been there at the time.
Yeah,
but
they played a little bit of reggae,
yeah,
a little bit of R&B.
I hope it wasn't Bob Marley again.
And one Bob Marley. There was one Bob Marley. It has to be Winston. I'm sorry.
Listen, Bob Marley's catalogue is
I
vast.
know. I grew up
Right?
on reggae.
Doesn't need to
And-
be the same song all the time.
All the time. Kill it. Just please.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you.
I
But
would bring
they
you a catalogue of
played.
Bob Marley that you can play, and it's just not the One Love or the Buffalo Soldier and all the who the cap fits. I mean, there's so much to his music, and sometimes I find it disrespectful that they're just playing the same thing over and over again. It's just it's
maybe
annoying.
they need us to tell them
Wait,
there's more.
Winston. Murder, she wrote. Murder.
But
Really?
even
Same
that tune, right? There's so many variations to that as well.
Yeah.
Right? So to me, it's just giving the DJs are professional DJs and they have a whole catalog. Sometimes they've got to take a risk and not just be safe and just play the same.
Yeah.
Put in something different and just see what the audience does this time. And if they react to it, oh, actually, next time I know I can put in this tune, vary it, give some variation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So not take over the night, just that 45-minute slot where you mix it. Don't do 45 minutes just of Afro. Change it up. Put some chronics in there and just play some different tunes.
Yep.
That's my view.
Well, thank you, Winston. Izzy or Hawk, I would agree, but some come to beat me up, doing 30 minutes. I would like to say there are pal-ups who come to drink, sit there and enjoy the music, never complain, in brackets women, don't know what he's getting at. Then when they maybe get some mid-music, they get up and dance, no complaints. But there are some dancers who have been dancing 3 hours or had music to dance those 3 hours, the minutes, some music. I'm not sure. I think what he's saying is getting complaints when he tries to do something different. Thank you, Izzy. Rashida saying, interesting perspective from Winston. I don't disagree. It's harder for non-pellet men. And I think that was with regards to Winston having to approach ladies in Mangale. It's hard. I have to agree. Been there. Really interesting about the table situation. You dare not sit down at any of those tables.
No.
You will find out. You will find out. And you move to the next table and you find out again, and you put your drink down and you find out.
Yeah.
So
Unless you're invited.
essentially, you're out on the floor on your own, looking around like, what am I going to do?
With a drink in your hand.
With a drink in your hand.
All I'm gonna say that this is, again, we spoke about this in the previous shows. The previous show that we just did was also, we talked about some of these interactions, right? And obviously, even in the show that we spoke about, recommended by Andrea, where we were talking about the women being sat down and whatnot, and we explained, again, Kizomba, one of the things that people cannot run away from what it is, which is like the Kizomba night, a pull-up night. Again, a lot of people from different walks of life will walk in there, right?
Mm.
And again, there's so many things that needs to be put in place. For example, these crazy pull-ups, the organized problem, the bring problems. One of the things I said so many times, this is the UK. One of the things I love about the UK is that if you do problems, you ban for life. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. It is what it is. If you're not educated, my brother, next time you come to the club, I don't even need to come to the door to talk to you. The security will tell you. You know what I mean? And again, there's something here that I find it very disconcerting, is that a lot of the teachers, I mean, we're teaching something great, which is to be as a dance community. Nobody will say no to dances. Everybody's going to be polite. I love that. But there's a reality check here, which I always ask everybody, to the ladies. If you were in a normal club and a random guy tries to touch you inappropriately, would you allow it? No, I'll smack him on the spot. This is the same thing.
Same thing, 100%.
But there's
In a
nothing.
pull-up night, even more so.
But there's nothing wrong with accepting a dance from somebody, and then if you don't feel comfortable, then I'll walk off the floor. I have no
100%.
problem stopping a dance midway if I don't feel comfortable with the person. But we're kind of straying off the track a bit.
Yes,
but this is one of the things I'm sort of talking about. We're talking about Kizomba school nights. One of the things I like about that is we can drill in etiquette and behavior.
These are the people who don't come to the classes, though, Winston.
But even though we get those new people coming in, and we can impart what they should be doing and what they shouldn't be doing. So I think that's important in terms of how you ask someone to dance and how you dance with that person. This is things that we should impart to people who come to classes.
but a lot of the people who come to a Kizomba night don't come to the classes. So how are you
No,
going to?
I know. But what I'm saying is, the ones that do, we can't.
No, absolutely. It's always part of my lesson. Etiquette is always, and keeping yourself safe is always part of my lessons. Always has been, always will be.
Yeah, it has to be.
But
The ones that
people who don't come to the lessons, who don't, who you can't talk to. Yes, we can lead by example. We can model good behaviour. We shouldn't have to be modelling good behaviour to grow an attitude.
But it's life. We have.
I agree. You have to.
Yeah.
But yes, but also there has to be some understanding of from non-Palops to how Palop culture works. So you saying that you can't just go up to random women and ask them to dance without asking their partner first, I don't see anything wrong with that. I think that that's common decency.
That's etiquette.
Andrea, can I just?
What I'm saying is,
Winston. Sorry, Andrea. I think Winston mentioned earlier. If you switch that to the opposite way,
thank you.
They will literally not even ask. They will drag a woman that is a non-Palop onto the floor, manhandle her, and possibly,
some.
That's not a Palop. Attention, that's not a Palop.
No.
I will say, yes, I do agree. There are some men on both sides, because it is not strictly just Palops. And the fact that most people that I've had the most issues with have been white men, European men. It has not been Palops. So please, I don't want there to start being this blame culture.
Say it, Andrea. Say it.
We have to be fair, because a lot of people don't understand the Palop culture, that the men will come and they will sit down, and they've come out, usually they might have come with their sister or their sister's friends as a sort of escort to make sure that they get home safely, because that's how they were brought up. And all the women sitting around me, why aren't those men dancing? And they're moaning. And I'm like, well, they've come out to see their friends. They don't want to dance. If they hear a song they like, and a lot of women are, European women, non-Palop women, are very fussy who they dance with. They want the best dancers to dance with. They want to, and I get it. I do understand. It's your night out. You want to have a good time. But we have to respect the roots of the dance. Where did the dance come from? It's very common for people outside of Africa. So anybody who hasn't been I wasn't brought up in Africa, but I understand what happens. Things come out of Africa and they get westernized or Europeanized. I'm not going to use that word. And they get changed. And then people don't respect where the dance originally came from. And without remembering the roots of where this dance comes from, because all dances are based around, and this is just me on my high horse, but it's based around spirituality, about Mother Earth, the universe. And that's how people way back when praised their gods. And we talked about the Orishas and that sort of thing. So I know not everybody wants to know about all of that, and a lot of people aren't really, they just want to come out and have a good time, and good for you. I think you do. You all have a tough life. Yeah, we all have stuff we have to do. We need to let off steam somehow, but we also have to respect the culture that this dance came from. The same with salsa. It came, from Cuba. The Cubans were in Angola for a long time, and that's why there's the rumba, and that you can hear sometimes the clave beat and other stuff like that within the dance. So I get I do get what Winston's saying, that it's different to like when you come out to a school night. But if you go to a Palop night, you have to respect their etiquette, and you have to respect that's the rules of the club. And I get, again, that we would expect people to do the same when they come to a school night.
100%.
But it doesn't happen.
It really doesn't.
I think we're just heating up. There's lots in the chat. Andrea, have you got a nice little music session for us?
I have. We're just going to have a little break. Are you able to put the Just a minute. Welcome back to Let's Talk Kizomba. We'll let a quick breather there. Cool down just a little bit.
Welcome, guys. If you've just joined us, tonight's topic, if you didn't know, is Kizomba School Night versus Kizomba Palop Night. Now, we've had a bit of a discussion on what we think it means, what we like. We're going to move on to the chat. I think it's only fair. We've got our adoring supporters making comments, and let's go and tuck straight in. Izzy has said very hard, Rashida, for non-Palops at an extreme Palop night to get a dance. And then he says he gets happy when they play mixed music, then he can dance. So, yeah, 2 points there. It is very hard, as we all know, to just infiltrate a group. And he likes when they play mixed music. He gets happy. Emma is one of our panelists. She says, I was at an event this weekend, and a lovely couple actually were dancing salsa with a Kizomba track playing, and it was great to see. Refreshing. For the record, I started Kizomba. I'm not a salsa dancer. Well, so one's that's not come through salsa, and she's experienced a couple dancing salsa to a Kizomba track. I'm starting to have concerns for some purists, Kizomba purists, whether they would like this mixed music and, for example, people dancing salsa to Kizomba. I think we're treading on thin ice, maybe. Andrea, do you think?
So when you say a Kizomba purist, what do you mean by that? Somebody who just wants to come and dance Kizomba?
Exactly right.
So there are those that just want to come and dance Kizomba, and that's fair enough. If an event is advertised as a Kizomba night, you expect it to say what it does on the tin, really. But again, there was a time when Kizomba first started, and I'm going back way back, that it was just Kizomba that was played. Kizomba in December, that was it. There was, well, a lot of it was Ghetto Zouk. It was C4 Pedro, Landrick, that sort of music. And then more and more artists came on, more music came out of Angola, Guinea-Bissau, sort of places like that. So the music started to change. And then I think what may have happened was some promoters thought, right, I need to do a completely different night to attract Palops, because Palops drink. And that's why they're invited to events, because they cover the bar bill. Because, and this is one thing that really does annoy me, is people coming to an event and not even buying a drink. You know, buy one drink. You only have to get a Coke or, you know, a lemon, you know, a lime and water if you really can't afford it. But, you know, people see, and this is probably one of the things that I see or I feel, is that Palops that are invited to the event because they drink a lot and they will cover the cash bar, the bar. So that was, and I will say, exploited by some promoters, and still is exploited by some promoters. And I get it, it's a business, you have to cover your costs, you have to cover, you know, the teachers, the venue hire, the DJs that you bring in. I do get that, but like most things that come from Africa, it gets exploited in some way, and that's just my personal sort of feeling about it. But if I go to an event, I will always buy a drink or two, because it's about supporting the night. Because if you don't support it, the nights are going to close. Like Rashida said, I ran. Well, to be fair, my event stopped because I had a huge family bereavement. But it's really difficult to run events if people don't support it.
So, but it's very interesting. It's just a tough call. It's a tough call.
I mean, people will go where they like the music. There are some events I don't go to because I don't like the music, because it's hours and hours of Tarashini or slow,
Yes.
where the guys don't move. It is, to be fair, even with the slow Kizomba or the slow Samba, you can do a lot of footwork and you can dance. A lot of guys just want to stand still and maybe not dance. So people go to where they like the music. You know, where if there's somewhere that plays music that I don't like, I don't go, because I'm not going to pay my money across the door to stand there and listen to the same beats per minute for hours and hours, and that does include compa. Love compa. Don't get me wrong. If I go to a compa night, love it. That's because that's what I'm expecting to go and listen to.
No, we need a little compa. We need a little compa.
But it can clear the floor, because if it goes on for too long. I've witnessed it.
We must move on.
In a Palop night, definitely would clear the floor. In a school night, it will get packet. It is what it is.
Exactly.
Guys, I'd like to say I saw Andrea going slow in the corner on Friday night. So Andrea gave me a bit of a clip around here.
I was not going slow.
He was going slow. So do not take everything to heart. He does like a bit of slow.
Do you watch his footwork? Do you see his footwork? He doesn't stay on the spot. So be mindful what you're saying.
I just saw what I saw. Anyway, guys, we're going to move on swiftly. Hierarchy. Do we believe either or of these events create a hierarchical system? So back in the day, we had the Kizomba police. Rashida might be on still, where we had a group that were seen to be the leaders, or the people that would not make decisions but would kind of half educate but keep things in order with regards to certain things in Kizomba. Do you believe in either of these groups? They create a hierarchical system. Maybe the Palop side are saying, this is what we do, this is what you should do, and have leaders that kind of try to project onto the other group. Super Dixon, if you get my question.
Well, I must say that for the decade that I was in Plymouth, although I'm not, again, I was in different battlefront because I was obviously around the UK doing my thing, but I could keep hearing the zoom 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 from London, and there was there's a few gatekeepers. There were a few gatekeepers, and it is what it is, and they were trying to cater for whatever they wanted, and that's what the problem with the purists or the people that think what should be. Do you know what I mean? Again, I don't know where the reality where these people come from at some point. But yeah, I think they damaged the scene because you can't do a Kizomba night, for example, just focused on Angolan music. I'm saying that because again, if you go to a Kizomba night, and I always explain the difference. If someone is organizing a party and I say, is it an Angolan night? If it's an Angolan night, it's not going to be a Kizomba night. It's not going to be a Palop night. Basically, I'm saying this from the point where in a Palop night, I would not feel welcome. And I grew up with Angolans. People forget that since my 7, I grew up with these guys. I know how they think. I know how they talk. I know exactly what the culture is about. Do you know what I mean? But I love the fact that we all would go to the party and we all see the DJ would represent all of us. And I even put here and there a crazy DJ would put some crazy Portuguese music like Kim Barreiros or some crazy last stuff because we had Portuguese people in the group. It would be we all would joke, we all would laugh, joking. Look, the jumpers. Os pulas estão a dançar. Like we would say things like this, but again, if they are supporting the party, we need to make them part of the party. Do you understand? And I think that's one of the things that the gatekeepers or the Kizomba police, when sometimes they're talking and they're just catering for, and again, doesn't need to be an Angolan. I must be specific here. It doesn't need to be an Angolan. It just is people that follow the Angolan way, which again, I respect that. If that's what you want to do for your events, please do. Do your thing. It's your event. It's none of my business. Do you know what I mean? But I think that's damaging when it comes to Kizomba. The Kizomba that became popular in Europe, it's a Palop culture. It's a mix of all of us. It's a mix of music from all the nations. You know what I mean? So I do think that the purists or whatever, everything that it's extreme. I don't call them the purists. I call them the extremists. Sorry. And I'm going to go like that because again, you're catering for something that it's not what made the culture popular, if it makes sense. You know what I mean? I guess that's my take on it. And a lot of people do think I'm a Kizomba police. My God. I'm like, I have super on the name, not super police, nothing like that. The only thing I'm always trying to convey is I have the power of knowledge. My father always taught me. I used to enlighten who wants to be enlightened, not to force the way or our way in people, because I don't agree that that's the right way, if it makes sense. Gario?
Winston? He's on mute.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Right. I mean, in terms of, I'm not too sure I really understand the question. From my perspective, been dancing for the duration that I have, there are people that I look up to. The people that, I did a lot of my learning with, and those people, I would always listen to what they have to say. So people like Rico, Eddie Vance, Rikita, I did a lot of lessons with them. So if they are talking about something, I'm going to be interested. Eddie just produced a book, which I will purchase it and I will read it. So they're people that I would always look up to and aspire to be, yeah, as well as people from abroad who I look at and think, well, I would love to be able to dance like them. So they're the people that I would look up to. But in terms of Kizomba police, obviously you've got people who are at the top of their game and who are excellent dancers and have a lot of knowledge that if they mention something, and some of them are quite outspoken, Tocosta is another one. Tocosta is an excellent DJ, excellent teacher, excellent dancer. So if he's going to talk about something, you're going to stand up and take notice. So for me, is those are the people that I definitely would listen to or seek advice to if I needed anything. That's what I would do.
Andrea, do you see from either side a push for hierarchy system? You know, like maybe on the school side, you've got a group of people that are trying to maybe even change the culture, as it were, within the dance scene, to kind of not eliminate but try to push aside some of the components of the culture. Do you see that happening in a school
I
group?
don't. There are. Let me put it this way: there are some classes that perhaps, or some teachers that perhaps don't dance the way that I like to dance. I was taught by people from Santa May, Guinea-Bissau, Mozambique, Angola. So that's how I was taught to dance. That's how I like to dance. And, my DNA is Angolan. So that to me is honoring my ancestors. Dance is about honoring your ancestors. And like I say, there's all sorts of stuff around that. But so there are some people who want to, who teach, and I don't recognize much of the dance within their what they teach, but that's them. If they want to do it, they want to do it. I'd stay away from them. Everybody will dance evolves. Dance is an evolving art form. Always has been, always will be. So it's so long as we keep the roots of it and why people dance and what joy it can bring to people, let them is one of my sort of things. I don't have to partake in it. If that's what they want to do, it's good. They're going to do it whether I like it or not. So I'm not going to waste my energy getting uptight about it, which there was when we had the whole urban kids urban come out. Let them. If that's what they want to do, let them. My energy is better spent promoting, teaching, supporting the dance that I love. There's no point getting uptight about the way other people teach. I just don't have to have anything to do with it. But we can't gatekeep. Why would you want to gatekeep a dance? Why would you want to stop it evolving? Why would so long as you don't disrespect the history and the culture and that, I don't have a problem with it. My like I say, let them. I can concentrate on my dancing, the way I like to dance, the people I like to dance with, the very generous men who will dance with me and who make my night soar to the heavens. Why would I then go and try and stop somebody who doesn't do that?
Interesting. Guys, it's an interesting question here. I think the main question of the night will be here. What are the differences? What are the real differences in these nights? Anna, you've experienced both quite a lot. What would you say? Give us three main differences. So we know that there's normally live music is one. What are some of the other differences between the nights?
The music type, for sure. So
So
it's
tell us
not
about the
always.
music. Tell us about the music, because Winston mentioned he loves the music at a palette night.
It's because I had the situation actually the opposite way. So my previous events, I was passing a lot of more Kizomba and less Afro, but I was passing a little bit. That was what I decided to do, but I was not pleasing the young generation that just like Afro, and I had complaints. So there is always solution, there is options. People just need to go to the venues and understand what is going on, because usually they always play the same things and they always follow the same kind of event plan. So if you don't like it, you just change it. But I had the opposite. I had people complaining about the variety. I was not because majority of people who attend to my parties are palops, so they wanted variety. So this actually next event, I just decided to advertise 90% of Kizomba. So now they are aware that it's going to be 90% of Kizomba to stop the complaints. The organizers, the teachers can help, can highlight, can enlighten, but they cannot force. People pay to go out and to have fun. If you don't like the venue, if you don't like the environment, if you don't like the DJ, you swap. You're not going to force. You're never going to please everyone. You're not going to force and implement the rules on the place that people just go for fun. I don't think it's like common sense. Obviously, you can guide. There is people that are misguided or they misunderstand the night, the parties at some point, especially because of the alcohol. The alcohol has a huge impact on understanding through the night. Um, but that's the thing. I think the main difference is the music type. Obviously, uh, the plan of the event, so there is no classes majority of the times, and usually you have I attend to an event locally here last year, 2 years ago, where there was 4 DJs. Each DJ was representing a different country. So one was from Cape Verde, was from São Tomé, one was from Angola. So to please everyone. So they had four different DJs to play 4 different styles of music. That's how
That's a
far
good
the
one.
Palop events go.
That's a good one. So yeah, I mean, Georgia. So we kind of understand is probably live music.
Can I just can I just say something because I think I need to clarify. When Winston was saying that he couldn't sit on the table, it's quite common in Lisbon. So you buy a ticket that gives you an entry and a drink, but tables are reserved and booked and paid. So if you
No,
want to
we know
sit,
that. We know
No,
that.
I know
yeah,
that now. That was
We
made
know
very
Unless
clear
you're
to me.
invited.
We
If
know
you're
that.
you
invited,
can join to someone's table, but yeah, you need to be invited because they paid for it.
We
yeah,
know that. We know that for sure. Georgia. So
yeah.
we got live music. The music is different. I think we've established that. If you've ever been to a palette night, what differences have you found?
Um, the the people that are there are different on a pallet night. They are they come with their friends, they come with their family, like sisters, brothers, cousins, and I think they behave differently. You have to wait to be asked to dance on a pallet night. The vibe is different as well from a school night. School night, you know everybody if you frequent the place. Pallet night, um, I haven't been to many, possibly a handful ish, but they're a different vibe, different class of dance, and very authentic, very authentic. The music's so different. On a school night, you kind of know what to expect, but you pay to go to this night. You pay to have that because you like that. You know what they're going to play. You follow the DJs. You know what to expect. Pull-up night, no idea, no idea, and that's half the fun. You don't know who you're going to dance with, and you don't know what the music's like. It's brilliant.
And I tend to agree about the music. Like Winston said, that the songs they come out and bring to the floor is another level. And I believe this is why some people perceive not to enjoy maybe Semba at an event because I, for one, when I went to Mangala, I was like, wow,
Mm.
this is actually Semba. That what they're playing in London is not. So it can make a difference into what people like. So yeah, very interesting about the music, the people. And Georgia, do you believe? Have you seen anyone that you see in a school night? Do you see their behaviour change? Maybe a guy that you know that comes to a school night and then you've seen him in another environment. Does his behaviour change?
I've never actually seen anyone from a school night at a pull-up night.
Interesting.
I've been with a group, And they're the only people that I knew there. Everybody else was new and fresh and fun.
Super Dixon, differences. Can you just educate on any more differences that you find?
Well, we covered a lot of ground. We covered a lot of ground here. I think one of the differences that I think that needs to be addressed, and Anna kind of touched it, which is the expectations. And I feel one of the things that it's like, because I live in both worlds, right? I sense that is an interesting the expectations that people from the dance schools try to impose to people that are actually from the culture. So for me, it's like I don't know. I think this is important in the sense of I'm doing my party, right? And you come from whatever you've been, and you're telling me that I should not mix the music, for example. That was one of the things that I found that it was very disrespectful. When we started to do the parties in Plymouth, and people were telling me I had to play the whole song or whatever because that's what they do in salsa, bachata, or whatever. And I'm like, my friend, I don't know where you go, and I try my best not to be activating my Portugueseness, my Africanisms, and not try to be rude, which is very hard for us. You guys should know this already. But I think the expectation is one of the biggest issue when it comes to what does Georgia expect to go to the nice dances? Do you know what I mean? And a lot of people, for example, they see my videos, they think that's what how I'm gonna dance the whole night. Trick, 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 trick. It's not. In fact, it's exactly like expectation in music, expectation in the dances. Do you know what I mean? How many people would say, Andrea, how many dances or Anna as well, how many dances have you had and the guys didn't do one single trick, one single saída, but they were on par with the music? Do you know what I mean? They were on par with the music. I'm not saying all palops can dance, of course not. This is like kung fu. Not everybody does kung fu in China.
Good one, good one. I like that. Yeah, yeah, it's true. It's true.
Again, not everybody is educated like that. It is what it is. But again, the boundaries are different, and I think this is something that I find. If I go to an event and I don't want to dance one single time, people find it weird. But culturally speaking, again, not everybody is a dancer like that. Not everybody, and a lot of men used to say this palop men. They used to come to me when it's like, bro, why is that woman grinding on me like a mad woman? I don't know this woman from anywhere. And they are the ones trying to respect my event. Trust me, this is unicorns, okay? There are not many like that, but many would take the opportunity. But again, there's a lot of expectations from both sides, obviously. But the question is, who's right? When you come from the culture, you've been educated by your family how to behave in this sort of environments or not. You know what I mean? And someone that is not from the culture is trying to tell me how I should run the show. For me, that's a very important point because we covered so much already. But I guess the expectation, I think it's a killer because someone from the school comes from a school, they only play slow BPM, you know.
And this is alluding to or
And
what a certain person was saying about how I was dancing on Friday in a corner. I wasn't in a corner, but also, and I think that's really disrespectful to make that jibe at me. But also the person that I was dancing with, because
Yeah.
he was brought up in the culture and he dances with absolute and utter respect. So for you to make that jibe at me, it's totally disrespectful.
I think he was just pulling your leg. I think he was
Doesn't
teasing.
no, but that's it's total this no, it's not.
can I say something in this case, Andrea? I agree with what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying because one of the things also that I hate that this happens. And again, I have to control myself a lot because I work a lot with SBK festivals. Do you know what I mean? If you want to know, I've made that decision a few years ago I made the business decision of focus more on SBK festivals than just on Kizomba festivals. Do you know what I mean? Again, because I thought that there's a bigger need to educate the people in how the Kizomba room should be run. Because again, what I'm saying to people again is like, imagine people think that because I said, oh, this is an Angolan party, this is not a Palop party. But for me, because my Palop mindset is what drives my music when I'm playing music, I'm playing samba, and then some people, oh, but the dance floor is getting empty. I don't care. If the people haven't learned samba or are afraid of samba, that's a you problem. Do you know what I mean? I always say I would always have to respect my Angolan brothers and play actual samba. And Gary, you saw me do that. Every time I play the decks, I won't be afraid to pull tracks that are exquisitely fast. You know what I mean? Because I know for a fact that there's a lot of people in the culture that don't even understand that Kizomba, when we had the Kizomba parties, when you played samba, the dance floor always cleared because now you're going to see who's the real good dancers. And we would step back. I wouldn't step back, obviously, because again, lucky for me, I've been schooled in that sense. But I would see a lot of people, or some songs, for example, that would play. Sometimes I would step back a bit, not yet, but DJ needs to play this fast tempo samba that kind of died off because of the focus on just kizomba or cadence kizomba. And again, I think it's like, if you didn't learn samba, that okay, because you probably just learned kizomba, your dance instructor in your school has a limit on what he's teaching, which is, again, it's fine, it's not a problem. Well, it is, but for another day maybe. But again, as a DJ, not being playing proper samba and funana, I still don't get it in the UK. Funana is still, you play that, it's like the death of the dance floor. You're complaining. And the funny thing is, funana has so much has so much influences on soca. A lot of people in the Caribbean are listening to funana. They think it's soca. I didn't know this. This is things that I'm always trying to understand more the Caribbean side of life, because I want to understand how could I reach them with the music, because they're also part of the culture. There's so many people that from the Caribbean that support Kizomba, and I feel that sometimes we should play a bit more for them, and we don't. You know what I mean? But again, it's the expectation that is created. I think that it's ruined so many things. You know what I mean? If, again, it's Rashida tried something different. Well, I always think sometimes I tried so many things in 15 years. Some worked amazingly, some didn't. You have to go back to the scratch board. But I guess expectation is what they call the radio killer or something like that. I don't know. But it's really annoying. It's really annoying, especially people that are not from the culture telling me how I should do the culture. Or if I'm dancing, for example, one of the things that a lot of Palop guys complained, that puts them off of wanting to dance with the students, is because they are kind of telling him to do wasaida, to do this, to do that. And I'm like, There's like, not everybody dances Kizomba like that. But everybody dances pasada. And again, I think we should do a show very soon, bringing pasada, speaking about pasada in our show, because it's really, really, really Kizomba took over, and the essence of Palop night is actually pasada. It's not Kizomba, but I guess for another show. Let's go to someone else who wants to intervene. Silver Fox, I see you twitching.
Well, no, I mean, it's funny what you just said there, because that was going to be one of the points I was going to mention. That when I've not gone to many Palop nights, okay? I've probably gone to more Palop nights abroad than I have in the UK. But what I have noticed is, like you say, when you do dance with somebody, they are more happy and content just to do Pasada, Estrella, and just that is it. You don't need to be doing anything else. Do dips and tricks, they're not interested. Yeah? So that's the difference. When you do a school night, well, actually, I like to do that anyway, because I don't want to stand up in one place. I want to just dance and use the floor. So I would do a lift, I'll do a dip or whatever. I will throw them in. Not all the time, but every now and again, I'll just throw it in just to spice it up. But I do find that at the Palop nights, I think certainly the experiences that I've had is that you just do Pasada, just do Estrella, and you can just walk around, they're happy. That's it. Anything more than that, It's like we don't need to be doing this. It's more at ease, you know.
But
So
also, when you think when when palops go out, they are going out dressed up in their best gear, their best shoes, their best skirt, their best trousers. They don't want to be thrown around the floor.
yeah, but
So
I'm certainly not going to throw them around the floor because my back
no,
is
but it
screwed.
does. But
But
for the Kizomba school night, that's going to happen. If you want to go and
yeah,
dance Semba, you go
yeah,
see the youngsters, and they're all in their flat shoes and their,
yeah, yeah,
suitable
yeah.
clothing. But when couples go out, they like the Cubans when they go out on a Sunday afternoon to dance, they're in their finery, they're in their high-heeled shoes. The ladies want to be shown off by the men. The men want to show off their ladies.
Yeah, but you
So
can do that.
Andrea, how do you show a lady off on a dance floor? It's definitely not keeping to those free moves. So when
oh,
you say
absolutely it is.
You know what? I'll be
off,
honest with you.
shown off.
You can dance with somebody,
Yeah.
right? And that dance can look so elegant
Yes.
just by doing a few of the core moves. You don't have to do nothing extravagant. That fluidity you've got and that connection and that movement that you've got, it will look amazing, right? You don't have to be doing. It doesn't have to be Semba and you do all the dips. No, you can just dance smoothly and it will look nice. And when you finish dancing with somebody, they'll look, that was a nice dance. You don't have to go crazy. But I do like my music. I like the paddock music. I do, because, you know, I don't want to go out, personally, I don't want to go out and hear Tarashina and Get a Zook 3-4 hours on the trot. I get bored. That's why people see me sitting down a lot. But when you're not dancing, I'm actually bored. No disrespect, right? But I like my Semba. I like my Kizomba. I can move. I can use the floor. That's me. So when I do go abroad, when I do go festivals, you know, Gary, you've been with me, you know what room I'm in. I'm in the faster room, I'm in the Kizomba room, I'm in the Semba room. I'm parked up in there because I'm getting the music that I want to hear, right? And I get the music that when you do a class at a school, you can use the moves on the floor, right? So too often I've gone out to places and you do a class and straight after the class, they go into Tarashin or Get a Zook. So you're not using what you've learned. You think, hang on a minute, we're just on a class. Why is the DJ already gone into slow? Give the students some opportunity to express themselves and use what they've just learned, rather than just going to all this slow stuff and you got to wait until somebody wakes up the DJ. Oh, by the way, there's people here waiting for something with a bit more faster BPM so we can dance. Yeah? So for me, I do a class for the reason that I want to improve my dance. And you're only going to do that when you have a variety of music. And I think too often in London, we are concentrating too much on slow. In my opinion, we're concentrating too much on slow. You go to a paddock night, and that's why sometimes people struggle to dance effectively, because they're so used to dancing slow that when you dance with somebody who's remotely going to do something like a move or dance around the floor, what the hell is going on? My feet, they're lost. So I like the variety of the paddock night. I love the music of the paddock night. I love it. But as I said, the ambience is what I don't really like. I like that from the school night. It's more sedate, it's calm, it's more sociable, and you can approach people. I know people say, yes, there's a cultural difference. Fair enough. But then that's a two-way street. It shouldn't just be one way. Yeah. So if I have to go up to a woman and respect her partner to ask and that, then you should also reciprocate and do the same. Yeah. You shouldn't just be, you understand? So there's some etiquette on both sides. Yes, we're not in Angola now. It's an Angola dance. We know that and we respect that. We're now in Western society and things have had to change slightly. And that's just progression. Unfortunately, that's how it is.
Absolutely.
And it is now in Europe. So it has to change slightly for the fact that it's here now in Europe. Yeah. But at the end of the day, whatever event we go to, whether it's a paddock night, whether it's a school night, we're there to enjoy it. We're there to dance and enjoy and party and have fun. And that's what we got to keep at the forefront of everything. We're there to enjoy ourselves. It's a social night.
Right, we're going to go to some messages.
Let me just say one thing, though. Very quick. I promise. Winston, there was one of the things I agree with partially with everything you said, but there's something very different that I think that what's lacking, and again, this is a problem of the schools, is that a lot of people that come to learn Kizomba, they skip. A lot of people do this. They skip. They do 4 weeks of basics. How the hell
100%.
can so?
100%.
What I'm trying to say is, if the core of the dance is actually, because the core of the dance is the pasada, not
Yes.
Kizomba.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. So how the hell you doing 10,000 tricks? The truth is that for me, for example, when I'm listening to slow music, I would not dance the rashinha the whole time. It's inconceivable. In my mindset, it's like dancing with the, again, I would not dance the rashinha with my mom. It's not that set up, but imagine some slow songs that are actually family songs. For example, Filho da Zua, these days, a lot of the songs that he plays, man, when I dance with my mom, Alma Gêmea, for example, that's the song I love to dance with my mom. It's a love song, nevertheless, but I'm not going to doing basic slow. I'm going to be dancing pasada throughout the whole time. And I think that's something that, for example, when it comes to school night, and again, expectation of what you should dance, you know, I mean, when we also know that we should be here to connect, and that disconnection, I think it's a bit, it's not connecting. But anyway, let's go to the comments. Yes, Gary, let's go to the comments.
Guys, some comments have come up quite interesting, and we will pop back in a minute to what we were talking about. Liv, good evening, Liv, who's hopefully going to join us one evening. Variety is a spice of life, and she's referring to the nights. Emma Guest, no room for the fancy stuff like back in the days, chocolate nights. Less is more. I mean, look, I remember Rakita once saying, putting a lovely video of Emmanuel, I think it was at Nomad, and they were just doing 3 or 4 moves, and she said it was Kizomba heaven. I'll never forget that. Serena says, I'm not interested in dips and tricks. If I go down, you're coming with me. Wow. I've seen it happen.
I've heard.
Martin, evening Martin. The 2 nights are different in so many ways. I enjoy both. They cater for different crowds, which I think we all agree on. I will say, read the advert, check your expectations, and make your decision. Exactly what Anna was telling us before. Again, Serena's coming up with another one. When they play the soul songs, many of those I have seen, I just stood on one spot like they're dead. Maybe they're trying to do a bit of dessert. But guys, I mean, I will defend the slow stuff. I don't think it's played that much. I don't think it's played as much as you think.
Are you going to the same places that I'm going to or something?
I don't.
That's because we love it, G.
That's exactly what it is.
No. I think it's been pretty even, and then compa thrown into it as well. It's taken away from the faster music. So do we block the compa? Get rid of the compa?
No.
Everything's got its place. Everything has got its place.
Not.
No,
A little bit of
when
everything.
it's played 6, 7, 8 compas, you're like, okay, and it's the same. It's like Winston said, it's that same beat per minute for half an hour. The DJ's meant to be taking me on a journey. With the highs and the lows of the music, not flatline.
It's not for me. I think it doesn't fit into a normal Kizomba night, but that's just me. A night on its own, I think it works. Yeah, but I think we can safely say. I mean, there's a lot of people that like it, but not for me. Letitia, if compa can be played, other Caribbean music genres can be played.
100%.
And I don't know how the purists.
A variety, not the same.
This is an
not the same
interesting
tracks.
I think we should do a show on that, because if we pay to go to Kizomba, although I've seen a couple of salsa songs does tear it up. Where were we, Winston? I think just
it was back to basics.
Yeah, and it went absolutely mental. It was just like wow. And then you see everyone saying, "I didn't know you could dance salsa," and it's just like wow. Yeah. So I think there's room for it, but you know,
that's the only difficulty I think when you go to when they do play different, say like salsa or something like that, is you don't know who you can dance with. Because when it's Kizomba, you know who it is. You know who, the majority of people are there to dance Kizomba. But you may know that there are 2 men who can lead salsa. And to be fair, I danced Cuban salsa and I taught it for years and years and years. so I can lead, but I don't know which ladies dance salsa because not everybody does.
No.
It's not, a default dance. So that's the only time when and if the DJ only plays one or two songs, by the time you realize who can dance,
It's over.
they're already with somebody. There's no one else to dance
You
with.
just got to take a chance.
gotta take
Sometimes
a
you can tell because how they're rocking on the side. If they're doing the steps and you're doing, then you actually, and you go up to that person. No, because you can see
The
the
bachata hip.
steps.
The bachata hip.
No,
Well, not bachata. Oh, not bachata. No, not for me. But yeah, can't
Dominican.
stand it.
Dominican is amazing. I don't understand why more people don't like it because the footwork is just.
Oh yeah.
I think
Oh,
what
boy.
happened. You had this romantic bachata thing that came, sensual bachata,
Sensual.
and I think that's just gone. I think it's like when urban came in, it just destroyed it.
Sorry, I totally
Yeah,
choked.
Central is the
Say no more.
urban kids of bachata, bro.
I was swearing in here. Right, guys, next question. Do
Oh
we
my
believe the Palop nights are inclusive? Now, I will start with a story of a particular night. It was a really brilliant Palop night. Many people had visited and found it difficult to integrate. And some mentioned that they actually were not welcome or felt not welcome. And even a question was put out from a senior member, let's say, of the group, and why are people not coming? And there was a few comments from people saying not welcome, didn't feel like they could integrate, were intimidated. So, Dixon, do you think these Palop nights are inclusive? And when we say that, I think you know of non-Palops, let's say.
Well, like if the general opinion is that again, Palop nights are not inclusive if people don't know you. The difference is that the social side of a Kizomba Palop night is actually the reason why you go out. You go out in places, you know people, it's familiar. You don't go out and talk to someone you never met before. And again, it's important to understand that a lot of these etiquettes are actually designed as well. For example, in a Portuguese environment, we all from different neighborhoods, we all from different areas. We don't know each other like that, you know what I mean? So there's boundaries here. So therefore, if you come from a dance school and you come with that mindset that you have to dance with me, stop talking to who you're talking, which I think is very rude. I think it's absolutely very rude. You coming up to me. I mean, if you know I'm an artist, that's okay, of course. But because I'm an artist, I will dance, of course. But I must say that one of the things that, because of those constrictions, one of the things that I always tried, and I know a lot of palops in the scene, we love about it, and it's the fact that we try to tell to the palops, look, welcome to the night. All the ladies will dance with you. Okay, just try to dance with them, but no funny business. For example, and again, I'm just drawing the line just in case, because again, there's a lot of people that come from school nights, not just the men, that are looking for funny business. You shall find funny business. But again, I think that it's not inclusive because of the nature of the culture. Make sense? Because the word that comes to my mind is familiar. Kizomba Palop culture, you need to be a familiar. And that is what drives us to dance with someone. It may not be my family, but you're a friend. Winston, if I was going to a place and imagine you are accompanied, you know, I would not dare, if I didn't know you, I'm not there asking your company if I can dance, knowing that you're with her.
Yeah.
The etiquette dictates that you either ask me, or if I say, oh, does she dance? Does she want to? Yeah. Then you can say yes, you can say no. I don't feel offended by such. You know what I mean? And then again, in the school night, I love the fact that, yes, it's more inclusive. I love the fact that we created something more accessible because we are here to dance. Do you know what I mean? So again, it's for me, it's a hard one because a lot of people don't know, but growing up in Portugal, going to these parties, I would never go by myself. I would always go with my girl mates with my friends that are women, and I would dance with them the whole night unless the protocol gets activated and someone says, "Oh, my cousin, my sister, my girlfriend, she sees that you dance very well. Could you dance with them?" Yes, of course, no problem. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Again, it's different, but it is hard. I can understand for the students that is hard to be included in there. And another thing that I find as well that is very hard is a lot of people, like I said, they go to Kizomba, they don't respect Kizomba like that. They don't learn Kizomba properly. They just go to improve his class, learn the tricks, and then want to dance with a palop woman. A palop woman, it's like, are you trying to make me look bad? Are you disrespecting me? You know what I mean? And a lot of people kind of, she didn't know how to dance. Palop women don't know how to dance. I'm like, oh my God. And again, it's a hard ball, but I guess not everybody should be a dance teacher, but it is what it is. I don't
Yeah.
know. That's my
I,
take on it.
I
It's it's
think
it's it's
I think
it's
there,
hard
yeah,
to conciliate, but
yeah,
it's not impossible.
Yeah.
and I also think touching on your etiquette this there, I think that would be a real good one to transfer into the school group or let the club culture. I think, where you actually respect the guy and, or the group, the familiar, and I think that's a good one that might change the club scene a little bit. I think that's a good one. It's definitely hard to be or to feel inclusive. Um, Andrea, why do you think people feel they're not being included or accepted?
Are they making the effort? Are they? I totally get different people have different social anxieties. For me, old school, I would never ask a man, especially a man I don't know, to dance. That's just how I was, raised. That's just not how it is. If people are intimidated by other people, they need to work on themselves. That's not if someone says they're intimidated by me, that's not my responsibility. How I give my message across and how I portray myself is my responsibility. But you have to work out what triggers you. Why does that person intimidate you? Why does that person make you feel the way you're feeling? That's how it's not my responsibility if somebody's intimidated with me because I'm a confident person. I'm not going to dim my shine for anybody. If you want me to be less of a person so that you feel comfortable, I don't want to know you. You should be boosting me. You should be telling me whatever you want to tell me, to be honest. But I danced with a lady the other day. She'd been there quite a long time, and nobody danced with her. And she came out. She said, "Will you dance with me?" I said, "Let's show everybody what you've got." And that's what we need to be doing more with people. I feel if we want to build a community, if someone isn't dancing, if you see somebody's been sitting for a long time, and I know there are a lot of guys who will go and dance with women who may have been sitting a long time, because there are certain women who will always get picked. But this lady loves dancing. She's a lovely little dancer, and I'm more than happy to dance with her whenever we cross paths. But it's if people are intimidated, they need to be looking inwards and thinking, why is this? I do it all the time. Self-reflection is a huge thing. You should always be self-reflecting and finding out why somebody triggers you. Why don't you like that person? Is it because they remind you of somebody from your past? But anyway, that's my day job. But I can remember when I started going to well, it wasn't O'Neill's then, it was Seabo's way back in the day. Not that far back, and it was like going to the grown-ups dancing, because it was the other places were like this. Because remember, I don't live in London, I live on the south coast, so this was like going to where the grown-ups go. It's almost like you shouldn't be there. However, by talking to people, by going to classes, by getting to know the teachers, by being my authentic self and being genuine, I got to know people. And if people don't want me in their group, let them. If people don't invite me to their nights out, let them. I don't care. I can do my own thing. build, get your own self-confidence. That's a personal take on me, is that I don't let anybody ruin my night out. I'm responsible for my night out. I go to where I like to dance, where I feel safe, where I know security are there to look after me, where the promoter is there to look after me. That's why I go to the events I go to. But if I don't fit in a clique, so what? What is a clique? It's imaginary. That is something that you are projecting onto a group of people. We used to always say when I started going to particular venue, oh, the people who sit on those tables are the best dancers. I can tell you they're not. But those people don't come out anymore. They all stopped coming during the pandemic. But that's people projecting their views on those people. That's not what those people perceive. Once I started teaching, people's perception of me and the way people's attitudes to me changed. It wasn't because I changed. It wasn't because I was going around being the big who am. I don't promote myself. I don't need to. But people's attitudes to me changed. And that is other people. That's not me. I've always been the same loudmouth, but
I mean, guys, if you're listening, Andrew is saying, well, it's to do with you. Go and make something happen, basically. Winston, on to you. What do you think? I mean, when you've been to Mangale, do you feel like you were accepted? I mean, one of the times I went, interestingly enough, I was with an ex-partner of mine, and in the end, we were dancing. Even when we weren't dancing together, we were dancing, on our own, next to each other. And in the end, a family with a couple of family members, a couple of the girls came on and pulled both of us to the floor, and we were all dancing together. And it was like, wow, yeah, they're inclusive. It's really cool. Your experiences, do you feel that you've been included, or?
Not particularly, no. Not when I go there. For me, look, the school night has an advantage because we have classes. And in the classes, you get to know somebody. Even if you come just to one time, you'll get to know somebody because everybody's going around. So when it comes to then social dancing, you've broken down the barrier already. So it's easier for people to come there and fit in and dance. Yeah. It's the same when you go to a festival. You want to go and do a class, number one, because you want to improve your level and you want to learn, but also it helps you get familiar with people that are there, and then it's easier then to dance in the social and, later on in the day. So when you go to a Palop event, per se, my personal experiences is that I have not found it easy to break into that circle of people that are there. And unless I've actually gone with a group of people that I know or a partner at the time, then I will dance a lot. If not, then I have found it personally restrictive. I can say a lot more, but I don't want people to think, oh, you're just negative. I'm not. I'm just giving my experience as I've had it and seen it.
And it's valid.
It's reality. It's what I've experienced.
It's valid. It's very valid.
And one of the other things I noticed is one of the clubs I was going to, they didn't really control the alcohol intake. So, for example, I've been to a club and I've seen a guy walking around with a bottle of brandy in his arm that he's bought from the bar. Now, obviously, people are they're getting drunk, and how they behave then is influenced by the liquor. So I think that then creates another problem in terms of how people behave with other guys and with other women and things like that. And I think that's a problem. If they control the bar better and there's better security, then yes, I think people will feel safe. One of the places that I went did have a massive disturbance. And it was, it was pretty bad. Police had to be called. And, the fights that were going on there, it was not pleasant. being stuck inside there for almost an hour before you could get out, you know. So my experiences have not been brilliant, but the times that I have been, particularly when I've gone to Mangale, as I said, the DJs are on another level completely. And the when you are dancing, I mean, I've been there and I've actually danced with people that have been either tourists or from the festival as well. And so then you know you do get a lot of dances that way. But yes, the music has been, it's my type of music that I want to hear. It's the BPM is not just slow. It changes, and you know you can really dance your socks off.
Also, there's different rooms.
Well, in the festival, yeah, but Mangala is just one big space. But
Yeah,
in the
it is.
festivals, yeah, you get like back to basics, 4 rooms. So you pick your flavor. If you want to dance slow, you go upstairs. If you want to dance proper Kizomba Semba, you're in the main room. So although that event has now stopped, which is a shame, but as I said, there's many others that we can go to. I mean, we're quite fortunate in London. Okay, I say London because I'm based near London.
There's a lot of events.
We have a lot of events here. We have a lot of clubs. We have a lot of regular events. We have a lot of monthly events. We have a lot of weekly events. And we are sport. Compared to people abroad, we are sport for choice.
And
So,
I think Winston, you're right. I think, you know, you make some valid points. You know, I don't think, but Andrew is also right. Sometimes you got to break the door down. You got to, you know, you're going into their environment. You know, you got to kind of make an effort, I guess.
well, I always dance, no matter what. I'm gonna dance, even if I find one person. I'm not gonna be standing up there, or otherwise I'll just leave and go home. I always dance, so it's not a problem. And when people see you dancing, you know, the barriers start to break down.
Not necessarily.
Well,
Georgia, what do you reckon?
Sometimes.
so what question?
Do you feel like the Palop nights are inclusive of non-Palops?
No, not.
Well, we lost Georgia, I think.
Anna, what do you think?
Very briefly, please.
To start with, no. You need to be approachable, understand the culture, but I think it's 2 ways around. So I still take my friends, Palop friends, to London, and they are still not used to be asked by women to dance. But it's still a thing. They feel uncomfortable because it's the culture. It's not about being inclusive or not. You need to understand the environment. You need to understand the culture. So I was in various Palop evenings a long time ago in Portugal. I used to be the only white girl there, and I was not asked to dance until I danced with the first person that could be like after hours of waiting. They didn't know if I could dance or not, so they wouldn't invite me. And still now, I go to Portugal, and I had a funny story. One cousin of a Palop friend told, just dance with her. She's like jelly. She just adapts to everything. Because he was not asking me to dance because I was white and I was in a Palop group. So he just said, just take her to dance. She's like jelly. I've never been described like jelly before. But yeah, it was just to express to his cousin that I could adapt to any kind of style. But yeah, I still have these kind of situations in some private parties in Portugal. It happens.
Okay, Georgia.
All I'm gonna say,
It's time to close.
all I'm gonna say
Quick.
one more time.
Hold on, Dixon. Sorry, Georgia was in the middle
Georgia,
of saying
yeah,
something.
Georgia, yeah.
Yes, I completely agree with Anna. I'm going to take Mangale. That I went in there, they stood, they looked at me for a little while, and then someone asked me to dance, and then after that, it was fun. So it's not inclusive until they feel like it, and then you get an invite to the table too. So no, and then yes.
Right, guys.
One of the things I just wanted to clear here that people forget, and this is something that I grew up with, and then a lot of people that complain that stand on the sidelines, I can guarantee you that one of the things that people forget is that the Pollock men, they fear the rejection in public, and that happens a lot, which is a one downside of our culture, one very bad downside of our culture, which school nights are obviously totally better for that, which is you know that asking someone to dance, they will dance with you. There's a good vibe on that department, but culturally speaking, that's a that's a one hard to break, but it's again, it's because of the cultural side that we don't know each other. So one of the things that, for example, Anna and Georgia, what you can see is this: the guys that actually may want to dance with you, they are sussing it out if you are with a partner. Are you alone?
Yeah.
You know, and it's not necessarily. It's something that it's. How can I explain? It's not necessary to see. Oh, is she single? Is she available? It's not. It's actually. I don't want to get in trouble. What Fox said, it's like it's that point where I don't want to ask the wrong lady just for a dance, and then I
Usually,
get
if I
ganged
go
up.
with friends, if I go with friends to Portugal to some party, usually when I get in, I just say to them, just go away. If you don't go away, I will not dance. So yeah, it's part of the culture.
Yeah, but yeah, there's also that Anna said. I want to just be clear for the audience. Yes, us Palops, we compare the level of dancing of the woman with food. Yes.
Okay,
It
guys.
is.
Good to know.
It's
I
a
think it's
compliment.
that time
Food
of
is
the
good.
night. Thank you very much for joining us. It's a very deep subject, a very full subject. We might have to revisit. There's so much that can be spoken about it. Thanking the panel, Winston, Georgia, and Anna, for your insights. Very informative. Dixon, the man who drove this subject, thank you very much. Andrea, who also had a great input from the Palop side, thank you very much. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with a new subject, and we hope you all join us again. Thank you very much. Good night to everyone. Thank you.
Good night.
Ciao.
Good night.
Adios.
All right. Thank you for watching.
Bye. Bye.